Good morning, Ducky. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, Ducky. Tucker, good morning. Good morning. Good morning, baby. I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you. Are you happy? Are you happy? Tucky, are you happy? Yeah. Are you happy? What is it? Hey you guys, welcome to the channel. I'm really happy that you guys are here, whatever time you're watching. I thought I would turn on this camera because I'm in the middle of a huge project. Well, maybe not huge, but I'm cleaning out my my paint, you guys. So I have a bunch of this paint, you know, that cheap paint that we all have, and I've had some of this stuff, you guys, for years, literally. And so what I'm trying to do is combine them, because I have some that are open, and combine them and then put them in these little things here. Yeah, so I think that will save some of them. But you guys, I'll put the picture here. I've dumped so many. Of this acrylic paint. And I thought I would go ahead and try to tell you guys what's in a name. And I'll put it up here, Karamia and a BB from BB's Closet. Or, yeah, BB and Karamia. I think it's Bianca. So let's see. This is a pretty color. I like this color. Yeah, so some of them they have that gooky stuff, and I don't want that. I want my paint to be smooth. So I have some water over here. So I've been going through all my paint, all my sprays. I just want to get rid of stuff that just doesn't work, you know? And yeah, see, there's a clump, and I don't want that. I don't want the clumps. So I'm gonna get the clumps out. Okay. So that will work. All right, so I want to try to do this. I don't have a script. I don't have anything to try to help me to remember. And I apologize. I get sidetracked and lose my train of thought. I'm letting you guys know that happens frequently to me. So I will try to do this as organized as I can in my brain. But quick disclaimer, if I get lost in the process, yeah, don't think it's, you know, it's just something that happens. All right, you guys, so my name, Tucker and Tulips, Tucker and Tulips, and I'm dropping the designs, and I'll tell you guys later about that, but it's just gonna be Trudy at Tucker and Tulips. I'm just dropping the designs on there because I'm no designer. And you guys, in case you don't know, I like to keep my watch on It is a remote control. My camera is up there and I can't see down, so this tells me if I'm in frame and all of that stuff. My phone. All right, so Tucker. Who is Tucker? What is Tucker? Why Tucker, right? Tucker is my 13-year-old Lhasa Apso poodle mixed, and he is my soulmate. I truly believe that. I believe that he reads me, I read him, I know him, he knows me. He is my confidant. He is, ooh, I better be careful. He is, he probably saved me in more ways than one. And you guys, I'm going to tell you a little bit about his life, but he, and some people would say I saved him. So I was married before and I lived in a really small town, and for some odd reason I decided one day, well, okay, so let me back up a little bit. So I got married, and when I got married to my ex-husband, I had a big dog. His name was Harley, and Harley was my baby. He was my baby. He was a good dog, just a mixed breed. This guy had a litter of them one day, and I think my kids and I were at yard sales or something like that, and we ended up adopting or taking three of their dogs, and Harley was one of them. But when I married my ex-husband, he kind of adopted Harley. Harley really bonded with him. He started training him. He was really good with animals, my ex was, and he really became his dog. And so one day I said, I don't know why, I don't know what happened. I was looking through Craigslist and I saw a little dog. Let me back up a little bit. So my ex had his mother had a dog named Toby. And when my mother-in-law passed away, my ex-sister-in-law ended up taking Toby, and I loved Toby. Toby was a poodle, and he was just such a cool little dude. I loved him. And I really thought, when the time came, that there was a possibility that we could keep him. But she took him, and that was okay. And so, but that what opened my eye to the kind of dogs. I always had big dogs, you guys. I always had like Harley was a big German Shepherd mix. They said he had some chow in him, only because he had spots on his tongue, but he was I always liked fierce big dogs. Ever since I was a kid, one of my first dogs was a big German Shepherd, and my brother brought him home, and his name was Toy, and he was just he was the best dog ever. I was a young teenage girl, and he was such a good dog. But anyway, so, see, I digress. My hands are going to be full of all of this. So let me just tell you guys what I'm doing here. So I have had these sprays for years, literally. I've had these since, remember Tuesday morning? Yeah, I've had these since Tuesday morning and have not used these. These are shimmer watercolors. Why am I not using my supply? Well, I am. That's one of the things that I'm doing. All right, so where am I? So yeah, so I was introduced to a little poodle, and I really love Toby. But Toby went to live in Texas when my mother-in-law passed away. So I got curious and I started looking, and one day I saw a poodle mix, and it was a poodle Lopso Opsal poodle mix. And I lived in a little town outside. It was about 60 miles, I want to say, outside of Tucson. It was like in the mountains. It was an old mining town where I lived. Nothing was there. I hated it. But anyways, that's another story. So I went and called the guy, and they were $150. So I went and called the guy. And it was on a Monday. I remember the day. It was on a Monday night, and I said, get this, you guys. I said to meet me at Michael's parking lot. Can you imagine? So you know I'm a crafter, right? So he was like, oh, okay, yeah. So they met me at, it was him and his partner, two gentlemen. And, oh, my thumb's hurting. And they had 3 little tiny, I'm telling you, they were like this big. Like they were 6 weeks old. They were tiny little bundles of fur. Adorable. And it was out there in the parking lot. And I had to pick one. And it crossed my mind to get a couple, but I just was gonna get one. So I say that I picked Tucker, but I think we picked each other. Because I just know, like, for whatever reason, Tucker was black. And then one was like, I know there was like a ginger, that ginger redhead one. And maybe the other one was black too. I don't remember. But I did know that I wanted a boy. So I have always had boy dogs. So I wanted a boy dog. And so he just, and Tucker was really timid. Like just, you know, just little guy, just real scared. He was tiny, guys, so adorable. And I took him because I was in Tucson. Remember, I didn't live in Tucson, but my son lived out near the Michaels in that area. It was like, if you know Tucson, it was on the north side. And I took him to, oh, and the gentleman, he was like, oh, but right when I was walking away, he said, oh, and by the way, he was born on November 29th, and I'll never forget that. Like, this was on a Monday, on a January evening, and he was born. So let me see. So yeah. So it was in January. So he was about 6-7 weeks old, something like that. Born the end of January. Then he went through December, and yeah. So, and I'm putting pictures throughout this entire video so you guys can see. So Tucker went home with me. This is a Monday night. He was good. Oh, so we went to my son's. I introduced my son to him. And you know how small he was? The couch, he didn't even go to the, you know how the couch has that little, like underneath the couch, the legs are this high? He was barely past the legs. So barely, just a little. He was so tiny. And I took him home, and he was so cute, and he wanted to just tuck in me. He just snuggled in me, like he snuggled all the way home, put him right on my lap, and he snuggled all the way home, took him home. And then I knew that since he liked to tuck and just snuggle himself in like my, my clothes or whatever, and he was just, and he slept with me, and he was just so cute. So I knew I hadn't named him yet, and so I knew that since he liked to be tucked in, he liked to be under the blankets, all tucked in, and I thought, yep, your name is Tucker. And so that's what I named him. This one is all stuck. I'm gonna see if I can get it. So that's on a Monday night. I think I took a day off from work and stayed with him Tuesday, but then I went to work Wednesday, and then again Thursday night he started to get sick, you guys. And I hadn't even had a chance because I was going to take him that weekend to go get his shots and everything like that. But I hadn't even had a chance. And so Thursday night I woke up, and then Friday morning he wouldn't eat Thursday, but Friday morning he was vomiting, diarrhea, everything. I take him straight to the the animal hospital, and sure enough, Tucker had parvo, and he had been sold to me with parvo. So I had no idea what to do for him or whatever, and I didn't have thousands of dollars to help this little guy, but so what they gave me was I'm trying to see. Oh yeah, so I was able to separate that. So they gave me a saline bag. So what they do when they put them on an IV, they put a saline bag drip, and I'll tell you in a second, but and then they just monitor them. That's what they do. But they put them in a cage. Nobody's like with them, so that's really sad. And so I said, well, I'm gonna do whatever I can for my dog. And so I said, get me, and I think it went from thousands to like $400 or $500 to get me some medication, whatever. I went home, and you know what? Let's thank the good Lord for YouTube, you guys, because I went home. I Googled how, puppies with parvo. This guy came up on the search, and this guy, he had saved the entire litter of Rottweilers from parvo. And what he did was he gave those dogs Pedialyte, and he said give it to them. Go get a little dropper, like this. I got like the baby dropper, but a little dropper, with the thing, and just give them Pedialyte, because the dogs don't die from the virus, they die from dehydration. And if you can keep them hydrated, the virus will go through their system and they'll survive. That's what the guy said on the video. Whether that's true or not, I do not know. I do not care. But I tell you what, I did what he said, and Tucker survived. I set my phone timer on. And my phone timer, I've set it for like 3 minutes, every 3 minutes. And I would put because I didn't hook him up to the saline thing, but I hooked him, I would put it, I figured out how to do that, and I would just like inject him, and it would be like a little pocket of fluid, and then it would go through his body. He could not eat, he could not anything. He was just, I literally kept a towel around him. It was awful. The smell was horrible. This little dog was literally dying. So that went on for about, and I literally stayed in a reclining chair and did that. I gave him the Pedialyte from the dropper and then the saline, and held that little guy and talked to him. Well, the very last day, this was, and I didn't go to work, you guys. I was like, called in, I told my work, I'm no longer there working, but I lied. I said, you could call it whatever you want, but we didn't have sick time for dogs. Okay, we had sick time for family. I took family leave, and that was it. But I stayed there with my dog. My close friends knew. And so so I sat on there and I just did that for 3 days. The very last day, my ex-husband, who was like, he was a, how could I say this? He was a hunter. He'd put in for, he would, he would go and hunt animals and eat them, and I never had anything to do with any of that, but he did. And he said, if that dog's not well by the time I come home from work today, I'm taking him out to the desert. And I knew what he meant, and I was just like crying. And oh gosh, I'm holding my little puppy, and I really loved my little puppy so much. I mean, there was like, just, oh my gosh, that little puppy, it just stole my heart from the very beginning. And I'll put pictures of all of this, you guys. I'm trying to put, I think I might even have a little video of him. Try to put all that of him. He was little. And that day, about 10 o'clock in the morning, 11 o'clock in the morning, I did post on Facebook, and I put, my little puppy is dying. And the minute I put it on there, my son called me and he said, Mom, don't give up on that dog. He goes, you never given up on anything, Mom. You need to stay strong for him. He can feel that. Don't give up on him. And he just shifted me, something in me, and I said, you're right. Why was I, like, how could I do that? And I just was loving on him. I kept giving him that Pedialyte, and the little dropper, did his saline. At 3 o'clock, my ex-husband usually got home about 4:30. At 3 o'clock, because I would like try to take him, and I was trying to give him like rice and chicken, shredded rice. That's what they told me to try to give him, rice and shredded chicken. And at 3 o'clock, I put him down. We were gonna go outside, and that little puppy went. And I think I'm pretty sure I have the video of this, where he goes to his bowl and he's so weak, but he starts to eat. And I knew then he was on the road to recovery. The diarrhea had already stopped. He was, and I just kept, and I literally fed that puppy by hand, and he survived. I ended up taking him back to the vet. And they literally told me they anticipated that dog to die. That's what they said. They said when I left there, they said, we really didn't, like, he was a miracle, because they just did not expect him to survive. He was so little and just so sick, but they were so happy. And like I said, everybody says I saved him, this and no, just wait till you hear the story. He's done so much for me. He's just, even that was part of his journey, with me, to show me that resilience that little guy has been like a blessing to me. Let's see, how long is this video? I think my camera died. Let me see. All right, so that was Tucker. The story of Tucker. And so he got out of when he got out of the hospital, well, when we checked him out, he got all his immunizations. And they told me then that because he had parvo, that he's probably got more, I don't know, I guess, like more, you know, that he didn't hate to be vaccinated, but I got him vaccinated. So, all right. So, and shortly after that, not too long after that, my ex and I split up, and Tucker and I were beginning our little journey together. He was my, I tell you, he is my, oh no, I don't want that. See that? Ugh, that's gross. I don't know why that grosses me out. That part. Ugh. He is my little savior, that little guy. He's just my little pal. All right, so Tucker and I left the house, and we began our journey together. I ended up, and I'm going to have the story of how I rebuilt my life too. That's going to be another video. Oh. Oh no. This is just too gloppy. I do not want, I don't know. I think I'm gonna try to put a little bit of water. So I brought some water to try to water down some of this. Anyways, so I rented an apartment. It was a duplex in another little town. I'm still not in Tucson yet, so I left my ex-husband. That was that's another story in itself, but I left my ex-husband, and I rented this apartment. Now I had nothing, you guys, and this guy rented it to me with just a handshake and my word, and Tucker and I began our little journey. I didn't have any furniture. Oh gosh, this is too, oh, this is just still too gloppy. But, we began our journey. I had to keep him inside the house because I didn't have it had a yard, but it wasn't fenced in. And so, of course, I didn't put a doggy door or anything like that because it was kind of out in the desert, and I would never just let him go. So he was trained on puppy pads, and anyways, and so I think this is too gloppy. I don't want this. So he was trained on puppy pads, and he went into the laundry room. So that worked out. Well, I ended up getting a lot of furniture from my friends, and, you know, just people that knew I didn't have anything. So I had a nice living room and a nice, I had nice dining room furniture, a hutch, like a china hutch, and Tucker and I were, we had our little house. Everything was getting really cute. We loved it. I used to take him for walks. He went on the car all the time. And I gotta tell you, poor little guy, he was always with me. So when I was coming to Tucson, something in the road, because I had to go on the freeway, but there was something in the road, and I ended up something fell off a big semi or something, and my car hit it, and it totaled my, and ended up, well, I don't know if it totaled it, but it was about $4,000 of damages. The insurance paid for it, but needless to say, that poor little dog had to survive that traumatic event because the airbags went off and all of that. So he had to go through that too. But Tucker and I are building our life, and we have love our little house. One day I get a call. I'm already starting to build, like, my house is like coming together. I'm decorating it. And now, you know, I actually, look at, see, that's dry. What a waste, huh? Am I gonna deal with that? I'm sure there's probably a thing you can do anyway, so I had all hand-me-down. So one day, this was a payday. I remember it was payday because I was getting groceries. I stopped to get my groceries before I went home. And I went into Big Lots and looked around just a minute, not because I had to get home. Tucker was home. And I get a call. And they said, it was my neighbor, and he said, "Trudy, where are you?" And I said, "Why?" And he goes, "Trudy, your house is burning." That's what he said. I will never forget those words, you guys. And my first thought was, Tucker's in there. And I still get emotional thinking about it because it breaks my heart that he had to go through that. But I asked him, my first words were, "Where's Tucker?" And he said, they're trying to get him. And I guess, you know, the story is, because I'll tell you. So I guess they went in, they put the fire out. What it was a sofa that I had. A surge protector behind the sofa had sparked, and it was smoldering, that sofa, probably for hours. They said smoldering, and eventually it just blew. And Tucker, the entire place, it was a 2-bedroom duplex apartment, and the place was probably filled with smoke. Tucker was found behind the water heater, like the water heater. Let me just kind of draw it. Oh, it's so sad. So this was the, well, let me get a marker so you can see. So here was the duplex, and it was just like this. So it was a bedroom, and this was the front door, and then little hall that went like this. And then I want to say, well, I don't know, kind of like that. I don't remember. The bathroom was at the end of the hall, so maybe like this. That's like, yeah, probably like that. Yeah, because that's how it went. So this is the bathroom right here. But right here, so, and then this was well, maybe the bathroom right here. It says there was a door right here, a door right here. And then this was the laundry room. There's the laundry. And then there was a water heater right here. So bedroom, this is a living room. Like a hall right here. This is kind of a dining area, and this was the kitchen. This was the bathroom, oh yeah, and bedroom, and bedroom. And I made this my craft room. All right. So, and then there was a back door here. So, anyways, but Tucker was found. He was little, so he was able to try to get over here. He was found right there. And this was the laundry room. That's where he went. The sofa was like a sofa like this. And right by the sofa, well, there was a table. And I had a table with this. There was a surge protector with, I had like, I don't know, something plugged in there. But it was a surge protector. And yeah, so the neighbor, because there was a bus stop. And the neighbor said she was waiting for the bus to come, and she saw the curtains right here, and she said it looked like because I ended up talking to her. She's the one who called 911, and she said that she saw the curtains like moving, but it wasn't curtains, you guys. It was the fire inside. It looked like curtains. It was the fire inside the apartment. And she called, but then what made her call 911 is that window blew. So when the window blew, that's when she called 911. And my neighbor, he was retired police officer from back east somewhere, and he came with this hose and he tried to just get it, and yeah, the fire. Anyway, so the fire, but that's where, so when I was on the phone, all I said was, is Tucker alive? Is Tucker alive? And my neighbor literally, remember, he was a big guy. I don't know how to explain it, but he was just a big guy, manly man, I guess, like not the kind to cry, and he was just crying, and he was like, they're working on him, Trudy, they're working on him.
Firefighters in Eloy. Nobody was home when a fire broke out last night at a home, but firefighters did find a small dog in the laundry room, not breathing. They immediately brought that dog back to life, giving it oxygen. The pup was then taken to a veterinarian in Casa Grande and is expected to make a full recovery. The firefighters even pitched in to cover the vet's bill for the dog and to help the homeowner in this difficult time.
He couldn't tell me if he was alive, and I go, what do I do? He goes, they're working on him. Hold on. He was trying to get me information, and anyways, but they told me that they were going to meet me at the animal hospital, and in the town over, which was about, I don't know, 10 minutes away probably. This looks like mustard, huh? That is King's Gold, and it looks like mustard. I mean, literally, you can put it on a hot dog, and somebody probably would try to eat that. It looked just like mustard. Okay, so I get to the animal hospital. Tucker's in the back seat with the captain of the firefighter. They brought him to the hospital, the animal hospital. The captain of the firefighter is, I literally grabbed Tucker out of his hands. He was full of soot. And I just was, of course I'm crying and just, oh my gosh. And he's about 2 now. Okay. So I had him and he was about 2 years old. I gotta clean all of these, you guys. I have 1, 2, probably 10 of my sprays that don't work. Anyway, so I go into the place and I want them to check him out, x-rays, whatever. And they knew that he was coming too, because the firefighters, I guess, told them that they were coming. And the lady, the front desk lady, her words, which, I'm not going to be mad about that. I was never mad about this, but other people, when I tell this story, they get so mad. But she goes, well, it's going to be $568. I still remember. She goes, I can't let you go back until, and I said, I have, because I went grocery shopping, I paid all my bills, I was just getting my life back in order, and I said I had like I was counting my money. I think I had like $200 and something in my wallet. And she's like, and I go, I'll pay, the rest. Well, the firefighter, I mean, before I don't even think I was saying all of that stuff. Like, I don't think I got into that, but I remember thinking like I could pay all that. He comes behind me, big old guy, and he goes, we're gonna take donations, we'll have the money, take that dog back there. I mean, and she did right away. She didn't even question nothing. And lo and behold, man, I was just crying. I was like, this is what I go back to when I think that people are cruel and ugly. No, people are not. People are, generally people are good people. I've seen people be really good people, and nobody can ever convince me. Are there ugly people out there? Absolutely. I'm sure there are. But you know what? I've seen good in humanity, and I will never forget that. So they take Tucker back there, and he has a little bit of, his eyes had some issues with his eyes, and they said he's gonna be fine, and they let me take him home, and yeah, he survived, you guys. He survived a house fire, parvo, and he is the most beautiful soul you will ever meet. Everybody that has met Tucker loves Tucker. He's just a beautiful, not, and I don't mean that like he's cute as hell. Don't get me wrong, he's cute as hell. But just his demeanor, he knows when I'm sad. He knows when I'm happy. He knows when I'm mad. He knows everything about me. He's been there when I'm sad. He's been there when I'm broken hearted and just in total despair. He has been there for me. And people say like, well, yeah, but you were there for him. Oh my gosh, you guys don't even know how that dog has just what he's brought to my soul. Without him, I would never have been able to be who I am today. And let me just say, that's saying a lot. So there you have it. And the tulips, you guys, are just simply because I love tulips. I think they're beautiful flowers. We don't, see a whole lot of them where I live unless you buy them. My kids, they would get me lilies. But I've always loved tulips. Tulips seem happy. Like they're just happy. So, and it sounded beautiful, but if I had to pick a flower, I think tulips are the flower that I will, always gravitate to for some reason. I don't know why. So there you have it. Tucker, just because I wanted to, I know my channel's gonna go on maybe, depending on how things are, but if it goes on even further than me going on, I want Tucker to, or someday Tucker's not gonna be here forever, and I want his legacy to live on, because he is, in my opinion, Tucker is, he gives me the inspiration to be good, to be loving, to be forgiving, to be kind, and to have fun. I always think, this is what I think Tucker is a reincarnated, and I don't know if this, this is just me imagining, but I believe this, I think that he was a little boy, because I see this little soul in him. He's going to be 14 this year, and he's got the soul of this beautiful little boy. And so he's just my little boy, and that's Tucker. So that's the name of my channel, and it has evolved. It's been Trudy Craig, and that was kind of blah, And then I was trying to hide because I worked at the department. So, you know, I was like, I need to make a different name. I thought of another name, you know, crafty clinician came up. But no, Tucker and Tulips is what it's going to be, what it's always going to be. And like I said, I'm dropping the designs. You'll see that pretty soon. But it'll just be Trudy at Tucker and Tulips. Something like that, just so people know my name. But there you have it. There's my little guy story. Thank you, BB and Karamia. I always wanted to do a video to just like explain Tucker's story, and because he deserves it. And so this was my opportunity. So thank you. I appreciate it. And I hope you guys appreciated that story. And tell me a story about your dogs if you guys have your little animals and all of that. But I definitely will put all of that, you know, he even went on the news, you guys, because they did do an article, they did a you know, a news segment on him. And yeah, Fox News actually did a segment on him. I wanted to show you guys. Look at all these beautiful colors. Aren't those pretty? So now I have all my colors. See all my greens. And I'll put these in a... But yeah, so I'm clean. I still have some more to do, but at least I have these. This way I just grab them, you know? These are little salsa things I got on Amazon. I think they're two... But you get a whole bunch. I got 50. All right, you guys. Well, I hope you guys have a really wonderful night. And I hope you guys enjoyed this story. Thanks again, BB and Karamia. Tucker, can we have a little talk? Can we talk about some things, Tucker? Molly seems to think that you're the one who's the problem around this house. Tucker, Molly says that you make you start the barking. Is that true? Tucker, can we talk about it? Can we get the truth here, Tucker? Is that true? Or is she lying, Tucker? Tucker, I'm talking to you, Tucker. Tuck, really, we need to talk about this. I know you don't care. Tuck, hey, Tucker, you can't, Tuck, can we finish this conversation? Tucker, Craig. Tucker.